And this prize goes to Naya. Naya Spring. Okay, I'm going to keep them from her because I know her. Sorry, she's not a... Naya, I'm going to hold this for you as a proxy. Okay. The second prize is a Zippy's gift card. This one, you got to be here. You got to be here for this one. Zippy's gift card. Okay. Winner is Christine Montague Hicks. Are you here? Christine Montague Hicks. Somebody call her. Call her. You don't see her? Okay. Does someone know her and want to take it for her? I feel, I just feel like... Is this you? Hi, this is not you. Okay, we'll pretend it's you. It's a friend. Yeah. Okay, all right, here you go. Wait, what? Oh, sorry, no, you don't need the name. Okay, great. So Naya Spring, when Naya comes back in, let her know I have her prize for her. All right. Thank you, everyone. Again, I think I hear the crinkling of many flaming hot bags in the room. And I hopefully you've carried some to your car. Our panel, so here's what's going to happen through the rest of, well, at least till after lunch. We're going to have this panel, a panel till 12 o'clock, deconstructing the play family laundry. Then there will be lunch. Lunch is outside. There'll be bentos. And so you can go ahead and grab a bento and something to drink. Lunch will last for an hour approximately, and we'll be back here at 1 and you'll want to be in your seats by 1 because our keynote speaker is fabulous. Kuhio Lewis from the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement will be here. I know he's been traveling a lot, so this should be a wonderful keynote. After which there'll be a break and then 2 back-to-back panels in the afternoon and no break in between then. So I'll give you more information as we get closer. I'm going to share some information about the panelists who are not currently on the stage, but I'm assuming they're going to make their way to the stage. So again, this panel will be moderated by Venus Rossetti Medeiros. I'm going to just say a little bit about each of them. Please refer to your agenda if you'd like to read their full bios. It's going to be a wonderful group. So see, one is already up there. So Venus will be moderating this panel. And talking about the impact of trauma within Ohana and Kaiaulu. And if you don't know what Kaiaulu refers to, it means community. We also have Danny Goya, strategist, trainer, and coach, who directs strategies at Malama Aino Foundation, analyzes at Kamehameha Schools, and founded Keala Hoaka LLC. I won't say what high school he went to. No, I'm just joking, Danny. I'll just say it's not on our hill, but it's on another hill, Kalaipohaku. Okay, Danny, you're not even listening. All right, Shireen Balez, actress, producer, and writer, who you just saw, of course, gracing the stage a few minutes ago. Sienna Akimo, a surfer and restaurant service team member, born and raised in Haiku, Hana, Maui, just came from there last week. Awesome. Alatawa Fanene. Is Alatawa here joining us today? So Alatawa is a dad and husband, and he likes to speak openly about connecting with others and the hardships of loss and family addiction. And finally, Anu Getgen, an LMFT and a behavioral health manager at Kamehameha Schools. So again, please refer to your agenda to read up all about them. With that being said, Venus, would you like a third mic? There's 2 up there, but would you like this one? I don't need, yeah. So you got to come to me. I could throw up, or no, sit there. Sit there. We both get hips, I know.
It's a pa. Aloha. Mahalo, first of all, for coming to Halekipa's first, I don't know, maybe, hopefully, annual conference. And I just want to mahalo you for, once again, just doing what you guys all do. The work that you do, and I know, just kind of briefly went over the attendees, and I know we have many different organizations represented here in the auditorium, as well as people who are doing not just on the, what you call on the line jobs, but in supportive roles too, right? So mahalo to all of you for what you do. And we have an awesome panel. Aloha. So what I'm going to do is, this particular panel is going to really look at the play and talk about kind of their identity, like what did they identify with, and share a little bit about their story, because we selectively, right, picked each one of these panelists to share a little bit about their story, and then also any type of like words or learning that they can leave you with in this particular play. So I'm going to start with you. Just share your name and maybe about 5 minutes just kind of sharing your story, and then we'll go right down.
Aloha, my name is Alatawa Fanini. Everybody call me Tawa. I grew up similar to like the play, you know, around local family. You know, my dad was a heavy drinker, and a little background on me, I slowly ended up with addiction, going to prison, you know, living on the streets, just me and my siblings. And, you know, I went through the parenting program with Palikipa, and I learned a lot, you know, and I like how she said, through other agencies too, I was helped along my journey to better myself. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Sienna. Grew up in like the same type of household and environment. A lot of fun things. Sorry, what was the question?
Share a little bit about your experience.
A lot of experiences I have gone through in my life through my family, and I'm grateful that like my mother, Brandy, took me in at such a young age and just taught me what it is to just live life and accept the world.
Aloha, my name is Anu Getchen. There were quite a few things that I could relate to within my own ohana as well as my extended ohana in watching the play. I am born on Molokai, raised on Maui, and I attended Kamehameha schools from 11 years old. And so I went to boarding school and really was raised there, which was a wonderful experience. But it was also really interesting at times when I would come back home and re-enter into my family, and then just seeing some of the dynamics there, and also at times feeling a little ostracized from members of my extended family because I wasn't there, or because I went away, or because I was going to be that type of Hawaiian that went to Kamehameha schools. A lot of my family members referred to me as Haole Girl because because I was going to school somewhere else. And so there were a lot of complex dynamics for me, being at that school, coming home, navigating a lot of different situations. Since then, I've become a marriage and family therapist, and I work primarily with Native Hawaiian individuals, Native Hawaiian youth, working for Kamehameha schools now, which is a nice full circle moment, but really passionate about giving back to our lahui and seeing how we can cultivate resiliency, helping people to connect to the resiliency of their ohana.
Aloha, my name is Danny Goya, and like everyone else, the play, this is the third time I've seen it, and every time I see it, it's different, and I think it's different because I'm in a different stage in my life and how I'm viewing things. Very much so, like my household, My household would probably like lend a little bit more to Once Were Warriors, though, if you ever saw that movie from Aotearoa. It's a lot more violence. I am a trauma-informed care trainer now, and one of the things that I always talk about is the establishment, protection, or reestablishment of safety and connection. And you could see the context of safety within their family and connection. And at times when we work with families and individuals with complex trauma or coming from, the environment that I can relate to, I often think about at that age, how did I define safety? So I grew up in Pololo Valley, and everything in my valley was safe. But you get out to the Wailea Ave and beyond, that's not safe, yeah. Whereas the optics from outside looking in is that you are in an unsafe home environment or community environment, violence or whatnot. So it's interesting to look at things through like different lenses and different points of views and different stages in life. So mahalo to you, Venus, and the gang, because family laundry is always something that opens my eyes. Mahalo.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Shireen Ballas. I'm a survivor. My whole family are survivors. When it got emotional for me was when they started singing that last song, because I actually was crying back there. And I had to come out and be the employer and be strong. My life growing up, I went to University of Hawaii, Manono. I did all the things. I got the Kamehameha School scholarship to go to school at UH Manoa, and I met my ex-husband there. I became pregnant with my first child. And through the trauma work that I did over the years, going to therapy after everything had been said and done. I was married to my ex-husband for 19 years. I did not realize until my therapy asked 3 years ago, when was the first time you got hit? And the first time I got hit was the first date that I was on with him. So my journey has brought me to this day with Venus. And I have 4 children, 4 beautiful children. And I celebrate my 13 unborn or were born children due to either stillborn because I was hit or beaten so hard. But the reason why I think I'm here is to explain the extent of trauma that people go through. I'm an advocate for those who are going through trauma, that we aren't crazy when we are going through trauma. We have post-traumatic stress disorder from this, not just military, not just people in the military, it's everywhere. Post-traumatic stress disorder is very, very present in domestic violence home afterwards. And up until including till today, I still suffer from severe post-traumatic stress disorder, even though my ex-husband passed away last year. I give my life to my children, but I also give my life to my Lord and Savior. I want everybody to know that when you're going through trauma, if you've ever gone through trauma, if you see anyone going through trauma, please help them. I'm a huge advocate. I've created a film because I'm an actress here in the state of Hawaii. And I've done a short film, and I'm trying to do a feature film about domestic violence in the Native Hawaiian families. And I'm hopeful that we will get funding to do so that we can tell our stories here in Hawaii. Our film industry is down right now, so storytelling right now about Hawaii is very important. And the film that I made, which is a short film for the feature, it's like a little snippet of what my family went through, has not been received well because it's too violent, it's too raw. And I'm here to state that it's very raw and everybody needs to understand that, and so does Hollywood. So we need to tell our story. We're survivors. This is my daughter right here. my youngest daughter, Jessica. She's a producer on the film. She's my left hand because she's my right hand and my left hand. I thank you guys for coming today and just tell our stories. I appreciate you all. Mahalo.
Mahalo. And as you can see, so many of our people, and I'm sure there's many of you out there in the audience that can relate. How many of you could relate to the play, like some parts of it, right? I know, actually, when Delia introduced the play, she said that it was written back in 1992, I believe, with a bunch of people working with Tremaine Tamayose, who was the main playwright. He's awesome. He passed away not too long after the play was written. And then Andy Bumatai was part of it as well in writing. And we have someone in the audience, Paula Ann Burgess, who was also part of the Native Hawaiian Drug-Free School and Communities program. And I was very fortunate when I was working at Kamehameha when we were part of the team to give insight about substance abuse and you know, children of alcoholics and how they grow up and how it impacts their life. So what you saw a lot on this play was my life. That was my life. My dad was in construction. He was an awesome dad. When we were little growing up, I had 4 siblings, 4 brothers, and I was the only girl. I was in the middle. I was a middle child, and I could totally relate to Jake. I was a lost child. Believe it or not, I was a lost child. And I remember my mom left me at Long's Drugs like twice. Yeah, and I was like roaming around in the store and somebody found me because she didn't realize that until she went home, that her daughter was missing. My mom was the enabler. She was like Cindy or Lehua. She enabled my dad, and we grew up a very, very, very hard life after my dad started drinking. And it started when he was in construction, to be one of the guys, to be one of the boys. I had to witness my mom being abused physically, and it was very, very hard as a child seeing that, the trauma that comes with that. Watching my brothers struggle to become men, having a role model that wasn't the best role model. It wasn't until my mom left my dad that my dad cleaned up his act. And something happened in our home at that time. And it altered. When my dad became clean and sober, our whole life kind of altered. But the trauma of that childhood experiences stayed with us. It played out differently in every one of our siblings. Every single one was represented in the children. You guys would think that I was the family hero, but I wasn't. I was the rebel, and I grew up being very angry. And it wasn't until I went to college that I realized what altered my life was when I started working with young people. And I was about 21 years old, and things shifted for me. And I knew the experiences that I was hearing as I was counseling these young people was exactly what I had gone through. And I actually went to school to be a movie director. And I didn't go back to film school, and I ended up working with young people, and here I am today, 40 years later? And I've met some wonderful people, but something happened, right, in each and every one of us. And I still deal with some of the trauma, right? It doesn't always go away. It doesn't go away, but you learn. You learn, and you learn how to cope, and you find that resilience, And so I want to talk to the panel right now to really highlight what happened with you in order for you to come out of that place and find that resilience. Because I think it's important for those of us who serve young people and families to really focus on the things that mattered and made a difference in your life. Because sometimes we just kind of like try to figure it out on our own, and we don't hear the voices of those with lived experience. And those with lived experience are the experts. And so I just want to have you guys take turns and just talk about that. What is it? And for those of you who are working with young people, like I know Anu and Danny, you guys are actually working with young people and families. What is it that you're seeing? So, do you want to start? Oh, you got mic over there.
So like what we
Like what happened with you? Like, you know,
Okay.
when you're to make the shift.
to like do better.
You can put the mic closer.
Oh, sorry. For me, it took a while, you know. It took my third time coming out of prison to realize enough is enough. I was actually blessed to have two parents. I had my biological parents, and then I have my Hanayan mom and dad, Kim Rivera and Michael Rivera. They took me and my siblings in when we were on the streets, you know. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Last time I went on my violation from prison, I lost my mom, my biological mom. And, you know, going through life, I thought I learned my lesson a lot. But I tried to come out, you know, have a escort to go to my mother's funeral. And when the captain in the warden told me, like, nope. Just because of how hard head I was in prison, you know. Oh man, that killed me. You know, not being allowed to come out and pay my last respects to my mom. But, you know, my mom and dad never gave up on me, you know. My mom got me to have at least a video visit to see my biological mom in her casket and, you know, just to attend the funeral. But that right there opened my eyes, because I'll never forget when I found out, you know, that I was going to lose my mom and I wasn't going to be able to be there, you know. I went back into my cell, told my cellmate, hey, get out, you know. And he knew, like, oh, okay, you better get out. And I just locked my cell door and I just cried. You know, there's nothing I could do. It's not like I could just walk out of the prison and, you know, call my mom and dad up. I need someone to talk to. All I could do was just cry and just try to figure it out, you know. But it was at that moment that I told myself, you know, enough is enough. I'm going to get out this time and I'm going to get clean. And I've been doing it ever since with the help of my parents, the Halikipa program, you know, and other agencies that programs that I've gone to try to better myself. But yeah, that was my turning point.
You know, you make a really good point. You know, sometimes it takes multiple times, right? It doesn't happen after the first time trying to make it work. And then you hit a really low spot in your life, but you didn't give up. And that's what's really important, that we encourage people that, hey, you know what? You might not make it the first time, but keep trying, right? We gotta give our families and our youth the ability to like fail and come hanaho, try again, right? So mahalo for you, brother. And I know you said that parenting classes helped you. So those of you who are doing parenting classes, strengthening the families, that's really important. So mahalo.
Hi. I'm the youngest in my family, and I just really watched a lot of things go on. I'm very observant in my household. Seeing just the alcoholism go through within my mother, the struggle that she went through in her own life, and the trauma that she was put through. Really just seeing all of it made me realize that I don't want to be in like that type of environment, and I don't want to see myself struggling the way that my parents did. And thankful that Brandy got to like take me in, teach me a whole bunch of new things, how to alter my life and really forgive not just myself, but the people who have hurt me. Yeah.
Mahalo, Sienna. You know, I knew Sienna when Sienna was little, and Sienna did go through a really rough time with having to be a child of, you know, a mother who was an alcoholic and really struggled trying to raise Sienna. And luckily someone came along, Brandy, to really support Sienna as after Sienna's mom passed. Brandy was able to take in Sienna and really encourage her to be exactly who she is. And I think that's a message for all of us who are working with LGBTQ young people, that we love them and encourage them to be their true self. And it's important. And today, Sienna is thriving. She is an awesome surfer, and she's doing well in her life. So mahalo nui to, you know, those who came in and stepped forward to show love and acceptance, because that's really important. Anu, I know that you work with a lot of youth and families, and so what do you see that's happening with our young people and our families that's really making a difference or helping?
You know, I think what we see a lot are intergenerational traumas, right? These intergenerational patterns that can be passed down, can be learned, and oftentimes those things feel like they're really difficult to break, because they are. And it's really difficult to learn a new way of being or to have your family do something different. But what I think that I've seen is that when we have the right type of supports around people and consistent supports, like you mentioned earlier, right? Like knowing that sometimes it's not always the first time. Sometimes it takes a couple moments, it takes a couple tries. And so being able to be there to plant seeds, being there to help to pick people up when they need it, I think can be really significant for families. I think that when we're working with children, especially, it's important to help them realize that even though it feels like trauma gets passed down within the family, there's also significant resilience that gets passed down as well. And I think it's really important for people to be able to see the hope that's there, and that having that hope there, having people around them who feel hopeful for them or who can help them to connect to that or find that, is life-changing. And I think that type of support can really open up a pathway for, more long-term healing. So.
Mahalo, that's such a great point. Danny, you've been going around, and I know you are one of the, renowned trauma-informed presenters, coaches, and this month being trauma-informed awareness, mental health awareness. What are some things that you're seeing?
I always think that behavior is sort of that outward communication of what's going on in someone, right? So being mindful of being able to read and just sit with the youth I'm working with or the parents I'm working with. What is it that I'm seeing? What is it that I'm not seeing? And having like lived through some of it, I see, you can kind of feel, right? Or you kind of pick up on some of the things. So with that said though, and as I know some of you, so that's cool, but and some of the work that you do, we can't underestimate the value of the non-relative adult in the child's life. How did I get out of the dysfunction? I had pastors or coaches that kind of showed me, not told me, right, kind of showed me, modeled me. So there wasn't like adultism or things like that, like you should do this. It's just kind of like, okay, that's kind of what I want. I'm not getting it at home, but I just knew that that's what I wanted. So that helped, that was the drive through that. So the importance of really that non-relative adult, not from a lens of judgment, but from the strategy or spirit of modeling, kind of like what Anu was mentioning. The other thing I kind of wanted to dovetail off of what Anu was mentioning, we talk about secondary traumatic stress, that especially if you're in the field, one can experience that vicarious trauma, the burnout, that cascading effect of trauma. There's a flip side to that too. We can also have that cascading resilience that we get, like a vicarious resilience almost, from the clients and people that we work with and that we serve. And that's sort of, I just wanted to throw that out there because the going does get tough sometimes. And so it's nice to have those stories or those messages of hope that drive you as a provider to youth who need you, to show up without judgment, just to be present. Having those stories of vicarious resilience is helpful. And just like the inherited resilience too that Anu mentioned. I probably didn't answer a single question that Venus asked me to, but that was kind of what was on my mind.
You're good.
So right on. Well,
I want to jump on what you said too, like, intergenerational trauma. I know when I saw my mom's experience, right, and I was like, heck, I am not going to be like her. I am not, I'm going to be tough. I'm not going to be a weenie. Like, I'm not going to let a man hit me. Like, what? My first husband abused me. I married him, and he was an angel. And then we ended up, in a very violent relationship. So even when, it's like something, right? Like, and I said, I want to break that. I want to break that chain, right? It's not going to happen to me. And it happened to me. And so I think that's really important, what you shared, and that we got to just continue to encourage and not judge, right? Because the trauma is real. Like, oh, why didn't she just leave? Right, Shireen? You probably heard that before. So maybe you can share a little bit about your experience, Shireen.
So how come I never leave?
Yeah.
My kids, their life. When he went into jail for molesting my oldest daughter, because I'm going to answer that question that you asked first. What the turning point was for me is 19 years of abuse, taking all of that stuff for the children, and having to hear my daughter go what she went through, and I didn't even know she went through it because she hid it. We hide it. Cannot hide it anymore. We got to talk about it. Us Kanaka, us Polynesians, us people from Hawaii, us locals, we all shh, don't tell the story, shut up. I never tell my parents that this happened to my family until after he went into jail 2 months later. And it was because my daughter got raped by boys in high school, 4 boys. So I'm jumping all over the place. But the turning point for me was I had to really, really hear my daughter, listen to her, believe her, go to bat for her, call the police for her, and tell the policeman, or actually the police lady, who was a tiny woman, to go bring somebody else. And when she brought the somebody else, was an older man, not sergeant, older policeman. I had to tell them, you need to bring more people because this man is on steroids. He's trained in many martial arts, including Lua, which he used against us by putting his hand through our back, wanting to see his palm on our front of our body. He would crack coconuts to say, if you act up, that's what's going to happen to your head. So the turning point for me was when my daughter told me that he did what he did to her. I had to turn into Koa because my Ohana name is not Koa. And I had to be strong, Ikaika. And I had to put my foot down and say, you know what? This is Pau. You're going to go. You got to leave.
Thank you, Shireen.
That trauma for me. So being on the stage, being in the film industry, you have to learn your lines. I've been hit in so many parts of my body. I have broken bones here, broken bones here, here, everywhere. So when I'm trying to memorize lines and trying to do all of these parts, the question that you asked earlier, how to get out of that trauma, because I'm hearing all the yelling and all the things that are reminding me of what's going on, what went on back then. I had to ground myself and take off my shoes, like Venus said, touch the ground, ground yourself. And that's what I did. I grounded myself back there. I had to run, just to get the energy out, because it was reminding me so much of what happened to me in my life and watching my children get beaten up. The memory is not there. It takes a lot for me to memorize things. And to do this play was an accomplishment for me. Yeah. Because believe it or not, I played every instrument in the band, every instrument in the orchestra. I won state awards growing up. But until this day, I cannot remember how to play instruments. And my new husband came in one day, came home, and I had set up my drums. And I started to play the drums, and he came home from work, and I was just going Bob Marley, okay, no, I don't like that, okay, rock and roll, okay, I don't like that. Just playing the drums, and I was actually playing a heavy metal song on the drums with my earphones on. And I'm just going, close my eyes, going, whatever. My husband comes home, and he says, you play the drums? Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really important that we support each other because we don't know what the triggers are, yeah? And Shireen came to me in the backstage and she said, you didn't use his words, but she said, they got to stop telling me about my lines, right? Because it was triggering her. And I just said, sister, you're doing great. Just breathe, you're awesome, and whatever comes out of your mouth is gonna be exactly what you're supposed to have said. So didn't she do a great job? Yeah.
Mahalo.
Yeah.
I actually broke character, Kalamai.
It's okay, they don't know, no tell them that.
That police thing was nuts, man.
The other thing about trauma, we're seeing that it also impacts us physically, right? And for many of our people who are struggling with diabetes and high cholesterol and high blood pressure and all of these other things, I can see that. My brothers and we have neuropathy, I have fibromyalgia. You count them all, I have them all. And just recently I was told that I have severe arthritis in my right hip, and I need hip replacement surgery. And I'm going, what next? You couldn't tell, huh? You guys couldn't tell, huh, when I was running around. So HR is going to talk to me after this. Oh. Anyway, but we see that happening physically, right? And so one of the things, Anu and I actually work together at Kamehameha Schools at outreach counselors on our Maui campus. And we would have like these young people. I cannot read your sign, Brandy. What does it say? 10, okay. I don't want my glasses. You gotta keep warning, wear glasses. So we would have young people falling asleep in class, and the teachers would, complain, and then they would send us call us up and say, so-and-so not paying attention in class, they're sleeping in class, da-da-da-da-da, and they would send them to the VP, and then the VP would send them to us. And all we had to do is just talk story with them and get to know who they are and find out their story. And what you realize is that they were up all night with a flashlight studying because the parents' electricity was turned off. And they couldn't see. And so they were using flashlights, right? And so they're falling asleep because they were tired. It wasn't because they were being defiant. But how many of us take the time to actually get to know and talk story with our youth? We're so quick to judge, right? Like you saw it playing out in Gabby, right? And imagine Jake growing up, never being heard or seen, and how that would impact his life. And the hero, right? You know that the family hero doing all that kind of stuff eventually will take a toll, right? Mental health is so, so important. And so we have a few minutes left. So I'm going to ask you to share once again some final words, knowing that I was calling you guys young people. Yes. These are the young people who are serving our children, our youth, our families, our community. What is a message that you would want to leave them with?
For me, through my journey, what I learned was just to be open-minded, But at the same time, not only does the other people looking at me gotta be open-minded, I gotta be open-minded with them. They don't know what I went through, I used to grow up, I used to be an angry person. Like I wouldn't be able to sit up here, talk to all of you. I wouldn't even think I'd be talking to everybody, But by being open-minded, I had to be like, hey, these people looking at me and judging me. That's my fault. I went to prison and put all these tattoos on me, So I gotta be like, I cannot blame them for looking at me like that. But once I start talking to people, some people will be like, oh, brother, I wouldn't expect you to be well-mannered and and it's like, I would have never thought, because I met people that looked at my rap sheet, even parole officers. After months of meeting with me, they were like, bro, I would never thought you was this person because, I was brought up in a good home. It's just life happened. I lost my dad and my mom turned to drugs, and I had to learn to live on the streets, take care of my sisters. Me and my older sister had to really grow up fast at 14 years old, be mommy, daddy, make sure our siblings ate, go to school, So I try to be open-minded too, and just try to be like, okay, I learned I gotta tell my story, let people know who I am so that they can understand, Not everybody, we all come from different walks of life. Not everybody know what we go through. And for people just like me, convicts coming out, not just convicts, other kids that I've talked to growing up through hard times, I tell them, hey, don't be judging people too quick when they look at you and you thinking, they're looking at me like I'm a criminal. Hey, be open-minded, let them understand who you are so we all can understand, and grow as one, That's the only way we can break, to me, for my perspective, that's the only way we can break the stigma, you know. Everybody got to understand each other. But yeah.
I'm sorry, can you circle back to me?
You know, I think what I would say is that I think it's really important to take care of ourselves. You know, this work can be really challenging and it can be really draining. It can also be very rewarding and very empowering. But we have to know how to malama ourselves and how to take care of one another. I think that's really, really critical to being able to support our communities and our families, our children. The other thing I would say is that if you are in this work, it's really important to look at how you can help to cultivate the next generation of providers. I know I am so fortunate to have had people like Venus, who I was able to learn so much from, who have really shaped the type of provider and leader that I am today. And so I think we all have that kuleana to ensure that we're giving back to the next generation so that we can continue the really good work that's being done.
So I share this usually when I do facilitations, but for me anyway, the key to the song, the key to the song of life is really, it comes down to having an understanding of troops, allies, and soulmates. So being in complete alignment with the organization that I'm part of, like truly believing in the mission statement and the values. And if not, then I need to remove myself from that organization. But also to have a series of allies, like how you folks are. You may not all work at the same place, but you're all committed to the same goal. So having those folks that I can call up with that would say, hey, you know, I have this youth aging out. You know, can I hand over to you? And then the final piece is to have soulmates, like those who like really, you know, I have my ipo, I have my wife, but these soulmates are those who like repair your fractured souls, right? Because the work can get heavy. And there are things that I can't share with my wife because I said it, because two things going to happen. She's either going to put her hair on bun and she's going to want to throw, or she will stay up all night, right? Like she'll kind of toggle between them. But yeah, no, so, or it'll keep her up all night, right? So there's folks that are in the same work who will get it, right? And we will text or we'll meet and they repair my soul. So having the set of troops, allies, and soulmates would be something that I would offer to you.
What was the question?
Final word.
Final words. Okay. As an advocate for mental health and domestic violence over the years, I feel it's important that we talk to our legislators and really, really speak to them, like come together as a team and let them know what the statistics are. Because I didn't even know about Dolly Kohana? Kouhana? O Nawahine? Pohana O Nawahine. I didn't even know about this group. If I had known about this group, I think our family would have been healed faster because they have the statistics. When I looked up statistics, it wasn't anywhere. I could find it online. I couldn't find it in the library. So doing that work right there is so important. Kalama, I don't mean to point at you, but doing that work right there is super important. So if you know anyone, or if you're able to get to a legislator or a senator, or I mean, I don't really want to talk politics, but if we can tell them that this is a need, then the funding will come, hopefully. And I think funding is important to take care of our kanaka. Mahalo.
Can I say something?
Oh, yes.
Final words. If you feel like you can't ask or talk because I'm not really like good of a talking person when it comes to my emotions and my trauma, there are many other ways to help yourself. For me, it was the ocean. I loved being in the water, especially like at Big Beach on Maui or Sandy's over here. and I love just being tossed around. It just felt like I could be out of my body or like feel the movement of the ocean, and like feeling that just helped me understand like being put in a position where like you have to like struggle, and you're like, you know, when you're being held underwater and you can't like breathe, and you have to like really focus and think about calming yourself. Exercise is always good to go to.
So powerful. Thank you for sharing that. So mahalo to all of our panelists. You know, if you look at the t-shirt, Shireen, I don't want my glasses and I cannot look at my chest upside down. He kuliana kako apau e malama ko kako na ohana ame kaya ulu. We all have the responsibility to take care of our families and our communities. And then kukulu ana ipilina, building connections together. Mahalo, sis. So that's, you know, I'm very fortunate to be the president and CEO of Halikipa, and I'm mahalo that I have that kuliana and that kulana. But we have to work together, right? We as organizations have to come together for the sake of our families and communities. We have to malama each other, no matter what organization that we work with and who we represent, because ultimately it comes down to our children, our keiki, our families, and our community. So mahalo, give it up for this community, panelists. Oh, they're gonna take. Oh. Sorry.
Can we have one more round of applause, please, for our wonderful panelists? So at this time, we will have a lunch break until 1 p.m. There'll be bentos outside. I think, where's Brandy? They utilize the ticket in their, there's a ticket in your lanyard in the back, and you can use that for bentos. We'll see you back here in your seats, starting with our keynote, Kuhio Lewis at 1 p.m. Mahalo. Enjoy.